In this video, we will discuss about anatomy of salivary glands. What are salivary glands? They are compound tubulo-acinar exocrine glands found in oral cavity that secrete a complex fluid known as saliva. They are compound tubulo-acinar glands. They are exocrine in nature. They are located in oral cavity and their secretions are called saliva. This is the image of a compound tubulo-acinar gland. This is a tubule. Each tubule branch out into different tubules, and each branching tubule or branch tubule have a group of cells called acinar cells. So they are called tubulo-acinar gland. These acinar cells secrete secretions which are exocrine in nature. About classification of salivary glands based on size and based on type of secretory cells. First, about based on size. The salivary glands are two types based on size, major and minor. Major salivary glands include parotid, submandibular and sublingual. In this image, you can see the major glands, parotid gland, submandibular gland and sublingual glands. Minor salivary glands include serous glands of von Ebener, anterior lingual glands, buccal, labial, palatal, glossopalatine, and retromolar glands. These glands are collection of secretory cells. They are scattered throughout the mucosa and submucosa of oral cavity. They have short duct opens directly into the mucosal surface. The second classification is based on type of secretory cells present. There are three types of secretory cells: serous cells, mixed cells, and mucous cells. Serous cells are found in parotid gland, mixed cells are found in submandibular glands, and mucous cells are found in minor salivary glands. About anatomy of each salivary gland. First, about parotid gland. It is the largest salivary gland. They constitute 60 to 65% of total saliva. They are pyramidal in shape. Its weight is between 14 and 28 gram. Their location, it has a superficial portion and a deep portion. The superficial portion lies subcutaneously in front of the external ear. The deeper portion lies behind the ramus of mandible. It is closely associated with the facial nerve. This is the parotid gland. It has the shape of a pyramid. Its weight is 14 to 28 gram. It is a superficial portion lying in front of the external ear. This is the external ear. The superficial portion lies in front of external ear and the deeper portion lies behind the mandible. It has a duct called a Stenson's duct. This is a Stenson's duct or otherwise called a parotid duct. It runs across the masseter muscle and opens at a papilla in the oral cavity just opposite second maxillary molar crown. This is a parotid duct. It opens in the upper jaw opposite to the second molar teeth. A small portion of parotid forms accessory gland. This is a accessory gland. It is seen in front of the external ear, the superficial portion. This is a superficial portion of parotid gland. This is external ear. So it is just associated with the parotid duct in the superficial portion of the main parotid gland. For the nerve supply, the sensory innervation comes from greater auricular and auriculotemporal nerve. The parasympathetic supply is from glossopharyngeal nerve. Arterial supply, external carotid artery, venous drainage, external jugular vein, lymphatic drainage into upper deep cervical lymph nodes. About submandibular gland. It is 2 to 30% of total saliva secretion. Its location is at posterior portion of floor of mouth. It is seen in the floor of mouth in the posterior side and also in the medial aspect of the mandible. Its Name suggests submandibular. Submandibular means below the mandible. That means below the medial aspect of the mandible. This is the location of submandibular gland. Its duct is called a Wharton's duct. This is the submandibular gland and this is the duct. It opens under the tongue lateral to lingual frenulum in a papilla. Its blood supply is from facial and lingual artery. Lymphatic drainage into submandibular lymph node and deep cervical lymph node. Nerve supply comes from facial nerve and sympathetic supply is from postganglionic fibers from plexus on facial artery. About sublingual gland, the third and the last salivary gland. It is the smallest major salivary gland. Its weight is 2 gram. It constitutes 2.5% of total saliva. It is located at the anterior part of floor of the mouth. It opens into oral cavity through small ducts called duct of Rivinus and a large duct called Bartholin's duct along with the submandibular duct. This is the sublingual glands. As the name suggests, it is situated just below the tongue in the anterior portion. It opens directly into the oral cavity through small duct called duct of Rivinus and a large duct called Bartholin's duct. And this Bartholin's duct is opened along with the Wharton's duct. Its blood supply is through sublingual and submental artery. Lymphatic drainage, submental lymph node. Nerve supply, the parasympathetic fibers from facial nerve. Sympathetic fibers, postganglionic fibers from plexus on facial artery. About the minor salivary glands. Its name we have seen already. Its numbers can be 600 to 1000. They exist throughout the mucosa and submucosa of oral cavity. They are not seen in gingiva and anterior part of hard palate. Their secretions are rich in mucin and they have antibacterial protein and secretory immunoglobulins. They have continuous slow secretion. This helps to moisten the oral mucosa. About the microscopic anatomy, each salivary gland is comprising of a series of secretory ends called acini. They are connected to oral cavity by a system of ducts. About the secretory ends or acini, they consist of secretory cells. These cells are arranged roughly a spherical configuration around a central lumen. Secretory ends or acini show great diversity in size, shape, and cell number. This is a rough structure of a secretory ends or acinus. There is a lumen. Around the lumen, the secretory cells are arranged, and this is roughly spherical in configuration. Then these cells can be serous cells or mucous cells. The cells present in acinus or secretory ends can be serous cells or mucous cells. About serous cells are seen in parotid and submandibular gland. The secretion of these cells are proteinaceous, usually enzymatic, antimicrobial and calcium binding. Secretory ends consisting of serous cells are typically spherical and consist of around 8 to 12 cells surrounding a central lumen. There will be a central lumen around which 8 to 12 cells are arranged and these cells are spherical in shape. The lumen of serous ends has small extension in the form of intercellular canaliculi. They are found between adjacent serous cells. This is the serous ends or secretory ends with the serous cells. These serous cells are around 8 to 12 in number. Here you can see 8 serous cells. It can be 12 up to 12 and they are roughly spherical in shape Then it has a central lumen. The central lumen is extended in between the adjacent cells, and they are called a intercellular canaliculus. There is a central lumen. The central lumen is extended into the adjacent cell or in between the adjacent cell, called the intercellular canaliculus. The cells are 8 in number and they are roughly spherical in shape. Coming to the mucous cells in the secretory endopiece. The predominant secretory type of sublingual and most of the minor salivary glands. Mucous cells are seen in sublingual gland and minor salivary glands. They also occur in submandibular gland. Their secretions are large amount with mucins. This helps in lubrication, act as effective barrier, and helps in aggregation of microorganisms. Mucous cell secretions are rich in mucins. The secretory component of mucous cell acini consists of round or tubular configuration. The serous cells have spherical configuration. The mucous cells have round or tubular configuration. Also, there is a large lumen. They are larger than serous cells. They are pyramidal in shape and broader luminal surface. This is the mucous endopiece or secretory endopiece with the mucous cells. It is pyramidal in shape. It is tubular or round in shape. Then here you can see a tubular like shape. Then each cell is larger than the serous endopiece and each cell is pyramidal in shape almost. Then they have a large lumen. This is the large lumen. And there is also intercellular canaliculus. The cells are large. They are tubular or round in shape. The entire mucous endopiece is tubular or round in shape. The cells are pyramidal in shape and they have a large lumen. Coming to the duct system of salivary gland. 3 classes of duct are seen in each gland: intercalated duct, striated duct, and terminal ducts. This is the duct system. Here you can see spherical secretory endopiece. This is the tubular secretory endopiece. This is the canaliculi in between cells. Canaliculi from different units together form intercalated duct. This is the intercalated duct. Different intercalated duct join form larger duct called striated duct. Different striated duct join form again larger duct called excretory duct. Different excretory duct join form main duct which empties into oral cavity. About the connective tissue of salivary gland. Each salivary gland is covered by capsule. So thus, this we can demarcate gland from adjacent structures. Then this capsule extend into the substance of salivary gland as septa. So septa divide the gland into different lobes and again into different lobules. Here you can see connective tissue septum. This is the septum. This septum extend into the gland, dividing into each lobule. This is one lobule, another lobule, adjacent lobule, like that. Inside the lobule you can see small lobules. About the saliva. We have already seen it is a complex secretion of salivary gland. It is thin, watery, slightly viscid fluid. Amount is almost 1 liter in a day. Specific gravity 1.002 to 1.008. Average pH is 6.7, ranging between 6.2 to 7.6. About the composition of saliva, 99.4 to 99% water and remaining 0.5 to 0.6% solids. Solids can be organic and inorganic. Inorganic solids include glycoprotein, enzymes such as these things, mucin, lactoferrin, blood clotting factors, hormones, and secretory immunoglobulins. Inorganic substances include sodium, calcium, chloride, bicarbonate, phosphate, potassium, and less amount fluoride, magnesium, and iodides. About the functions of salivary secretion or saliva. Salivary glands has different function or it has multi-functions: buffering, digestion, mineralization, lubrication and viscoelasticity, tissue coating, antifungal, antiviral and antibacterial. About these functions you will study in detail in physiology of digestive system. Some of the clinical conditions of salivary gland. One is xerostomia. It is a reduced production of saliva. Coeluria, just opposite of xerostomia, that is excess saliva production. Cyalolith, it is a presence of stones in the salivary gland. Then infections like viral and bacterial infection cause painful swelling of the salivary gland. The viral infection is called mumps. Then there are some autoimmune diseases which causes destruction of salivary gland and reduced salivary flow. One of such disease is Sjögren's syndrome. Then there is a condition called cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease of mucus secreting glands, in which there is excess sodium and chloride concentration, and there can be mucus plugs in the mucus secreting glands. This cystic fibrosis affects parotid glands also, especially. Then there is also benign and malignant tumors. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share.